Network with you. So we have a lot of fun in store for us today and some really, really important basics of A Course in Miracles. As the title suggests, we're going to be talking about two really foundational concepts in this thought system. And miracles is one, and then the notion of forgiveness is the other. Now, we will also talk in some detail tomorrow about forgiveness. Now, this is a daily live stream. There's so much about both miracles and forgiveness that one could talk about with A Course in Miracles that it will take more than a 15-minute live stream each day to do it. Luckily, as the title implies here, we've got 3-5, and we're going to have more than that because it will take more than a year with everything else that I've got planned for this live stream, which will be wonderful. We'll have guests, things like that. It'll take us more than a year even to get through the workbook for students. So we do have the time. And in fact, as the course tells us in many different places, that's what time is for. Time's for us to wake up. Time is for us to make the decisions that we need to make. It's for us to bring some awareness of our own condition to our minds, to our conscious minds, so we can moment to moment make the decision for our highest self. So we can choose in favor of God, in favor of the Holy Spirit, in favor of love. The other choice is the ego. It's separation, it's suffering. So it is really quite simple. A Course in Miracles, all several hundred pages of it, many different lessons, is really quite simple. Moment to moment, we have a choice to make. And we have a question to answer, and that's which choice do we make? Do we, in fact, choose love? Then I invite you to do that. That is something that we all get to choose moment to moment. So yesterday on the live stream, we began talking about miracles. And let's rehash some of that. It's worth discussing because miracles in A Course in Miracles, or ACIM to call it that for short, if you prefer, it has a different connotation, a different meaning than what people commonly think of. People commonly think of, okay, make this pen levitate. I'm doing it. Without my hands? Oh no, I'm not doing that. That's what people think of as a miracle, is something that would be considered, well, something you'd see on Star Wars, something a Jedi Knight would do, lifting boulders, lifting spaceships, lifting rocks, right, with just the power of thought. That's what people think of as miracles in common parlance. And well, those could rightly be considered that if you were to go out to your driveway and lift your car with the power of your own mind, people would consider that miraculous, no question about it. So happily, you don't have to do that in order to work miracles in your life, because in this thought system, a miracle is quite simply a shift in perception. It's a change, a shift in perception from fear to love, from the ego, or a sense of separated self, to God. That's quite simple in concept. It's a miracle. And in fact, all of spirituality is actually quite simple. It boils down to the one decision, moment to moment. Are you choosing love or are you choosing fear? And as we know from slogging through and sometimes staggering and stumbling through our daily life, simple does not necessarily equate to easy at all. It takes time. And as we see in ACIM, that is the function of time. The Course tells us that, again, repeatedly, that time appears to exist here for us in the world so we can learn these lessons so we can take this to heart and wake up to the truth of who we really are. Now, let's talk about forgiveness as well, because if you've studied A Course in Miracles, if you're familiar with it at all, you'll know that this course places a lot of emphasis on that concept. So let's break it down, right? What does this mean? What does forgiveness mean? And as I do this, I also want to refresh my page over here. I welcome your comments here on the live stream. And as always, I will do my best to answer your questions here live. If I don't get to them, then certainly I'll respond here in the comments. But I do welcome and thank you for joining me. So, forgiveness. What is it? Okay, in the common sense of the word, forgiveness takes on all kinds of warped meanings in the world because we tend to forgive conditionally. We tend to forgive conditionally. And what I mean by that is people come around with an attitude, they carry forth an attitude. And maybe you've done it, maybe you have a friend or a family member, or maybe it was your mother, for example, that said, well, I'll forgive you, but don't do that again. There's a condition attached to it. There's a string attached. Oh, I forgive you. Oh, yeah, I forgive you. But if you ever do that again, I'm going to punish you brutally. So is that actual real forgiveness, or is that something that someone just said to you? Something that you just said to another person? That's forgiveness with strings attached. And does that feel real to you? Well, I think we can all trust our own intuition on that, our own gut reaction, that if it doesn't feel all in, it's not. Again, spirituality is quite simple. Either you are or you're not. Either you're choosing God or you're choosing the ego. Those are the choices. Those are the choices. It's quite simple. Moment to moment, we have the opportunity to make a choice. And this is one reason why so many spiritual teachers from any tradition, this or any tradition all over the world, put so much value on the present moment. It's all we have, and it's an opportunity to choose yet again. One of the things I love about the Course is toward the end of the text, the very last named chapter is Choose Yet Again. We have the opportunity to do that every moment of every day. We get to. And it's miraculous. It's a pleasure. It's a gift. That's what I want to say, is that it's a gift to be able to choose. So more on forgiveness. So we know what it is not. It is not forgiveness with a string attached. It's not forgiveness. You can't really forgive somebody truly with expectation that you're going to get back at them if they do this again, if it's revenge focused. Now, this is different than setting a healthy boundary, right? Because if you have to set a healthy boundary, then you better do that, right? It's very, very good to be able to do that. What we're talking about is how forgiveness gets misunderstood and misinterpreted, and not just in Western culture, but in all cultures worldwide. I mean, we're talking a universal human experience here. So how does the Course talk about that? Well, we'll talk about it a little bit here on this live stream today, and again tomorrow, and in much greater detail as we delve into the Course in Miracles itself over the next coming weeks, months, and years. I am going to be with you on this. It's a lot of fun. And I hope that you'll continue to join in this discussion, because we always, even if we've done this for years, I've done this for years, I've been a course student for years. Many of you have been a course student longer than I have in terms of years. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if you have never picked up this book in your life. You're exactly where you're supposed to be watching this live stream right now, today. There's a reason why you're here. And if you're catching the replay, there's a reason why you stopped the scroll and caught this replay. There's a message for all of us. There's a message for all of us. So forgiveness is often referred to in many ways in the Course, but suffice it to say that it is our work. It's our work, if you want to call it your task, your job, your responsibility here in this world. That's what spiritual growth is all about. Now, as we say more about this, let's just sum this up. In A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is looking past error. Okay, it's looking past or beyond error, literally overlooking it. Now, what error is that I'm referring to? Good question. Yeah, it is the separation. It's our sense of separation, of being so-called individuals, running around having vastly different experiences from everybody else, competing for what we assume to be limited resources. It's the domain and the realm of the ego. What is that? It's an error. It's simply a mistake. And as we'll go on to talk about, it's a mistake that was never made. This is forgiveness, is looking beyond error. And the Course uses the term brothers, so our fellow human beings, looking beyond our brothers and sisters' error. That the separation is not real. The truth of who we are is love. We are one with God. Literally. Literally. This is absolute truth. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, and the Course says this, it doesn't matter that you 100% believe that. In fact, you can doubt it completely. What I invite you to do is consider your own experience. And I had a really wonderful Buddhist teacher a few years ago when I was actively practicing a lot of Tibetan Buddhism, that said, nothing exists until you experience it. How about that? I love that. That really hit home and resonated with me. Nothing exists until you experience it. In other words, what I take from that, and you may wish to consider as well, is that skepticism is okay. Really, it's more than okay. We should question everything. Yeah, Jesus, as the author of A Course in Miracles, would most certainly, definitely, positively invite us to question everything. Now, while you're questioning everything, don't stop short. Don't go part of the way, but go all in and question the foundations of every single thing that you currently believe. Everything you've been taught by your parents, by your teachers in school, by society, by colleagues at work, everything. If you're going to have what I consider to be a healthy sense of questioning, question everything. Really, literally everything. Leave no stone unturned. This is what true spiritual inquiry is all about. So, looking for some comments here. Hello to everybody that is joining me on this live stream. I very much appreciate having you here. And I hope that you will enjoy delving into A Course in Miracles again. If you've just begun, if you've never done this before, welcome, you're in the right place. My aim is to bring some depth, of course, but also some lightheartedness and some practicality, because spirituality should not be or feel overwhelming. It's life itself, and life, of course, should be enjoyed. And that's what this is all about. Awakening to love is awakening to the actual experience of who you really are, which is liberating, it's freeing, and it is very, very joyful. In fact, it's exuberance. It really is. If you feel like you want to burst out with joy and laughter, that's a good thing. So, welcome if you are brand new to a course. If you've done this before, as I have, I always learn something new. And as the course tells us, we learn something by showing up and teaching it. So I'll be learning right along with you. Tomorrow, here on the live stream, we will talk about forgiveness according to the thought system of A Course in Miracles in greater detail, much greater detail. And we'll go into the workbook beginning on Monday, February 1st. So what I'm doing this week is we're covering in brief, in some of the basics of the course and its thought system. So wherever you are, all over the world, thank you so much for tuning in here to Enlightened World Network. I'm Tomas Garza, and I'm really, really looking forward to spending this time with you. And I thank you very much